Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Hameed with the Muslim Empowerment Institute, and today I'll be giving my thoughts on the Black American Muslim Conference that's being held in California. Specifically, this conference, as well as other conferences targeted at Black American Muslims this year. Now, I understand that the organizers are seeking to unite Black Muslim intellectuals to discuss some of the issues that are plaguing the Black Muslim population, not community, because as Black American Muslims, we don't really have a community. I'll get to that in just a moment. Because as Black Muslims, we have our own set of issues that may differ from the larger immigrant Muslim majority. Obviously, no Black American Muslim is really afraid of being sent back to their home country because America is our country. Islamophobia and xenophobia doesn't really affect Black American Muslims like it does immigrant Muslims. So, Black American Muslims are convening specifically to address our issues as Black American Muslims. As simple as that. Now, you did have a lot of Massa We Sick Toby Muhammad Muslims asking questions like, did the speakers at the conference study from overseas? Or, why are they excluding immigrants? This could be an innovation and this type of thing. Then some of the non-black Muslims are saying, is this Islamic to have a black Muslim only conference? How do you feel if there was a Palestinian Muslim conference? Well, you have it all the time and nobody says a thing. If you ain't Palestinian, you just don't show up. You go with your own folks and have your own respective ethnic gathering, and it's not a problem. But when the blacks get together and say that they want to do something for themselves, then many from the immigrant Muslim community will say, you're being racist for excluding us, just like a lot of black Muslims were saying about them. As I mentioned in the previous video about black Muslim activism, please check that out. And then one of the organizers said, it's not a black Muslim only conference, we're just addressing our issues as black Muslims. Then you had brothers and sisters saying that Imam Muhammad's community has been having a conference since 1975. And then one of the organizers said, it's not the first ever black Muslim conference, it's a black Muslim conference, and so on and so forth. So they're going to be discussing, or they are discussing at the conference, marriage, economics, incarceration, education, and the state of the Black American Muslim masjid. Now, these issues that are on the agenda are worthy causes that need to be addressed. Black Muslims tend to have a high divorce rate, higher than other Muslims and higher than other people for that matter. Why is this? Why do we find so many black Muslims in our inner cities that are poor and uneducated? Why is it that when black folks come into Islam and start following immigrant Muslim authority figures, all of your worldly aspirations just goes out the window? People think it's the sunnah to live in poverty. While everyone else is enjoying this world, you're voluntarily suffering within it, you and your children. Why is this? Why is it that many black American Muslims are opposed to secular education outside of religious knowledge? The only education for many of us is just deen. And then the religious education that many of you have been getting has only served to solidify your place on the back of the camel and to rob you of your history and your culture and ultimately leave you deaf, dumb, and blind. Now, does that sound familiar? Now, black American Muslims definitely need to acquire religious knowledge. We're talking religious knowledge that edifies us and addresses our circumstance in 21st century America. Instead of spending all of our time learning about the different ways to make wudu, or quoting a hadith that you don't even know if the prophet said or not, or the different opinions of Imam so-and-so who lived 800 years ago in another time and in another place. We need to spend our time getting a proper secular education so we can take care of ourselves and our families without begging others to do for us what we can do for ourselves. How often do we talk about economic empowerment within our masajid? It's rare because we're only focused on getting to Jannah, but not how to navigate this world until you get to Jannah. Why is it that immigrant Muslims can come to this country and within a few years, they've acquired that American dream? But we've been here for hundreds of years before them, yet we find that American dream so elusive for us. And then Toby Muhammad is saying that the American dream is haram, when the American dream has allowed Dr. So-and-so to build a multi-million-dollar masjid in 3 years, yet it took you 10 years to build a masjid that can fit within the immigrant masjid twice. And every year you're struggling to keep it open. It's real talk. I remember going to a black American masjid for Salat al-Jumu'ah, and the utilities got turned off. Folks couldn't even make wudu because there was no water. They were outside making wudu with the dirt. They were making tayammum. It's real talk. We try to get together to build an Islamic school because we want to take our kids out of the immigrant Islamic school because, we may feel like our black children are being mistreated for racism or something like this. Or we want to take our children out of public school. Then we try to pool our resources to get our own school, but it falls apart because folks can't agree on Aqidah or what school of thought we're going to follow. That brother there is a Sufi, I can't work with him. That brother over there is a Salafi, I can't work with him. Or I don't like that this brother's toenail is longer than the other, so I don't want to work with him. Meanwhile, life is just passing us by, and you wonder why your children don't want to have anything to do with your dysfunction, which you call Islam. So then what do we have? Now, back on the marriage tip, we have a lot of single sisters within our community, and they're highly educated, and we have a lot of brothers in our community that are highly uneducated. Do we really expect sisters to marry a guy with no job and no job potentiality? Sister, I got a job. I'm an entrepreneur. Brother, what do you sell? Oils and incense. Now, that may be okay for a side hustle as an extra income, but that cannot be your only income. You can't support a family off of peddling stuff. So that's why many sisters are saying, the hell with you, Toby Muhammad, you and your harebrained schemes. I'll just stay single. Hence, this is a reason why we have all these single sisters. If we're not building healthy families, then Islam is going to shrink within our community. As simple as that. We can't possibly think that some of these unemployed brothers are suitable for a working, educated black Muslim. This is not compatibility. Sister Aisha marries Toby Muhammad. Welcome to that bootleg wedding that took place in the imam's office that's next to the bathroom in the masjid. Then on the flip side, a sister may say she's not trying to be this submissive, docile, meek wife. She has her own money but wants to spend all of your money and keep all of hers. She said, I ain't chipping in for nothing. It's not my responsibility. And if he can't afford me, then I'm out of here. And then you wonder why Muslim men keep marrying non-Muslims. Oh yes, we got a lot to discuss at this conference and others. We have some real issues to work out. We have a lot of smart people that's going to be speaking at this Black Muslim conference. I'm talking PhD level intelligence. It seems like all the Black American Muslim PhDs in America were invited to this conference. If anyone has a plan for Black American Muslims, if anyone has an agenda to change our condition, then it should be these brothers and sisters, right? You're going to have them all together in one building. They should have the solution, right? Well, I'm concerned that a lot of these types of gatherings just end up being knowledge pissing contests. This person sees how far he can go, then it's another person's turn. Then she sees how far she can go, then it's another person's turn. And then the one who pisses the farthest wins. And then he gets the crown for saying, I can knowledge piss farther than all of you combined. And then what? It sounds good on paper to have all the Black Muslim intelligentsia in one place, but the problem is, or one problem is, the abundance of Black American Muslims who are Toby Muhammad, they don't respect Black American Muslim scholarship. And they could care less about what you decide at this conference because they're still listening to the guys overseas. That's what they need to discuss. That's a problem. And some of our Black Muslim leaders and scholars are actually the ones responsible for this. Somebody has to tell it, and it just might as well be me. If you go to a conference and some people who seem to be highly intelligent are telling me what the problem is, yet I don't know these people, you may look at them sideways, like, who are you? What have you accomplished? If you're so smart and highly acclaimed, how come I never heard of you? Oh, I know, because you've been so busy working in immigrant institutions, you don't ever get a chance to come to our little barely making it masjid because we can't afford your honorarium. But you're audacious enough to tell someone who looks like you what their problem is and why Islam is digressing within the Black American Muslim community, when you share part of the blame yourself. Something to think about, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, I hope that these conferences are solutions oriented. We need to convene together and figure out how we can use Islam as a tool of liberation to alleviate the problems of Black suffering. We need to realize that the problems of Black Muslims are the problems of Black people, plain and simple. Collectively, we need to revisit our knowledge about Islam. We need to refocus our Islamic studies and stop studying this useless information that doesn't do anything but turn you into Toby Muhammad. We have to realize that in every century of Islam, you had scholars writing tafsirs of the Quran, commentaries of the Quran. Where is ours? Oh, I know, you're still studying Imam so-and-so's tafsir who lived 800 years ago. Well, guess what? Imam so-and-so explained the Quran for his people and for his time. Where is ours? Many of our black American scholars say that black Muslims need to follow our own scholars. Meanwhile, you keep quoting all these folks from these other countries. So you're subconsciously directing us to someone else and you don't even realize it. This is real talk. Brothers and sisters, Islam is about building civilization. So what civilization are we building? We got to build community. We've existed simply as a population of Muslims scattered all over the place, and quite frankly, that's not going to work. We have to start living in close proximity to each other in these inner cities and support each other in our efforts. Now, Imam Amin Nathari, founder of the Muslim Empowerment Institute, has been traveling to different cities throughout the United States. He's been having conversations about the state of Islam within the black American community. He's been to Philadelphia, Atlanta, and other places, conversing with folks who understand the gravity of this situation that we found ourselves in as black Muslims in America. Essentially, he's going to a lot of the local masajids and trying to help people come up with best practices so we won't fall into the trap of this brother here or this brother over there on the other side of the country doing the same thing. So just think, if you're playing basketball and everyone is trying to play point guard, do you really think that you're going to win like that? No one's playing defense. Everyone wants the ball. I liken that to this situation that we have with all these conferences. We're all working doing the same thing and don't realize that someone else is doing it too. Hence, all these conferences we got, which I support, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us success in reviving Islam within the black American community. Brothers and sisters, let us work together and not work against our own best interests. Again, this is Brother Hameed with the Muslim Empowerment Institute. Please check out the links below, and as always, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your networks. And if you want to know who is Toby Muhammad that I mentioned a couple of times, Toby Muhammad is a composite character representing a lot of different personalities within the black American Muslim community. He is the product of hundreds of years of white supremacy, religiously endorsed self-hate, integration and non-edifying overseas Islamic education, and a whole lot of ratchetness. And upon taking his shahada with his background in America, and then this stuff that he's learning from his new slave master from Egypt or Pakistan or whatever, he's a recipe for disaster. And he, in my viewpoint, is the biggest contributing factor to the decline of Islam within the black American community, and one of the reasons why we can't get anywhere. I have a book about him called From the Back of the Bus to the Back of the Camel, analyzing the psychology of Toby Muhammad. You can support this book and others as well at MuslimEmpowermentInstitute.org. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.